I do want to apologize for not being there more. And I apologize for not making you comfortable enough to reach out, maybe. I don't know. I feel guilty at this point.
I say what cheating was, and I didn't like it because I didn't have feelings for this other person.
Or perhaps because you're not like him.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, I'm going to let you finish because you said you, again, were involved with somebody who was married. So, yeah,
sorry.
a commitment. Okay.
Yes. As I mentioned before, we moved to another house in another neighborhood that I didn't like at all. So just for you to know, I was practically locked in my house a year and a half. I didn't go out at all.
Wow.
I was only...
That is horrible. That is like holding somebody prisoner.
Since I didn't like the neighborhood, and it is a very dangerous place, and everybody would tell me, oh, but there are so many gangsters there. It is such a dangerous place. Don't go out. Of course, I was scared when I decided I was just going to be taking care of my daughter. She was 2 years old, and I wouldn't go out. I would wait for him to come until night. And sometimes I would wait for him and tell him, hey, take me to a ride. I want to see the street. I haven't gone out in a week.
It's almost like you're taking a puppy out for a ride.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
So I would say before he even opened the gate, I would say, oh, wait. And I would be waiting for him with my daughter ready to go out for a ride to the street, like around the block, or sometimes a little bit farther. So I would say, no, please, no, take me out. And I don't know if he felt sorry for me for being like that. I don't think he has that sense of remorse for anything. After looking around, looking at the streets, I sometimes just wanted to hear the sounds of the street, the lights. Then I would go back home, back to my cocoon. That was my life. But then I started to gain weight. I told him, like, hey, you know what? I have seen that there is a gym nearby. Why don't we both go to the gym? Perhaps I was also looking for another way of bonding with him.
Yeah.
But it didn't work. Yes, we did start to go to the gym, but once in the gym, he ignored me. He also had this attitude, and let me tell you what are the things he used to do. When we were in public, he would like pretend he didn't know me. Or
you think he was ashamed of you?
Not ashamed, but it's like he would prefer that people saw him alone.
Okay.
He wouldn't grab my hand, or when he spoke to me, I would be here and he would like say something looking to the other side.
I'm sorry, but it hurts to hear this, but it seems like he was ashamed of you. He was ashamed maybe of accepting his situation. It's like this guy is the guy who made up stories to you to pretend to have a life he didn't end up having. It was all false. Of course, he was doing the same thing. He was pretending in front of the world again that he had nothing to do with you.
Exactly.
Because in his mind, I can see also his thought process a little bit, because he probably thinks that by pretending that you don't exist, ignoring you in public, he's going to make it go away. Which is not going to happen. That's his reality.
Or the other thing that I think is that perhaps he was already having contact with other women and telling them that we had problems or that he was single or whatever. So he would try to avoid to have people see us together so that nobody could go ahead and tell them like, hey, you were seen with your partner and your baby. And also, when we got to his mother's house, he would never, ever give me a kiss in front of her or grab my hand or anything. I don't know. That his mom was actually never happy with him getting married because he is the only son she could control.
There is a name for this, right? There's a disease when they suffer from almost like Oedipus syndrome,
Oedipus complex, yes.
Oedipus complex, when the mom and the son have this sick relationship between them that either it feels like they're in love with each other.
And one of the things she would always say, the first woman you were unfaithful to me was your mom, because you always did what your mom said. That's what she told him. And then I started to
Red flag, huge red flag. When you see that, run away.
I wasn't able to see that because he wouldn't introduce me to his family.
I'm talking about his wife, maybe. Like,
yes.
Her mistake was like
she found out until she was married too.
Oh, okay.
They're perfect in hiding these things, but until you are deep into the relationship with them is when you start to see all these things. I was already pregnant when he introduced me to his mom, and then I started to see all these things that were not normal. And I would tell my mom, like, hey mom, is it normal that a son hugs his mom and he does like these rubbing movements? And my mom was like, if you or brother ever does that to me, I would slap him. So as I said, that was not my relationship with my parents. So that also made me doubt. There are some people that do get along with their parents extremely well, but I felt that it was twisted. But anyways, I decided not to be in contact with them that much, because that's what you do. When you don't agree with something or someone, and you know that you cannot change it, just step away. And that's it.
You're saying that easy now, but it was not easy for other
things. That's something that I have learned the hard way.
Yeah.
I learned it the hard way. I started to see all this situation, and she would be always asking for money, which is okay, because children, if they have the chance to help their parents, they should do it. But what I did notice is that she was only asking him when she has other 3 sons plus a husband. Why is it always him? Because he's the one that she could manipulate, I repeat. And he liked that. And then he would always say, like, the only bitch I care for is my mom. The rest of you bitches can die. And I will go out with my mom always, and I will give her everything that I can, so that when she dies, I will not have any regrets. And he would say all this stuff.
Yeah, so he's quite a character at this point. So you went to the gym together and he ignored you there.
He ignored me there. And this is where I met this man.
The other guy.
The other guy. I would always go to the gym alone around 3:30 p.m. And he would arrive like at 5. But the first thing that caught my attention was his perfume. It was something so delicious. You would turn around to see where he was just by smelling him.
That's funny, because in a gym, I wouldn't expect to have somebody smell with a strong perfume.
But not him.
Okay.
So that is one of the things that started to call my attention, the way he smelled. But in my mind, I thought he must be happily married with kids. Like when you see a nice kid at school and you're just happy for seeing him, and then eventually he sees you too, and then you don't even say hello, but you only do like this.
Okay.
So I was always in the gym with my daughter. And
you took your daughter to the gym?
Yes, because I didn't have anybody else to take care of her.
Okay.
So I was able to let her sit down and play. But then I would sometimes stay longer in the gym waiting for my baby's father to get to the gym. That way he would give me the car and I would go and visit my children while he was training. And that went on for 2 or 3 months.
Okay.
And then we had an argument and decided not to go back to the gym. So he left me alone. And I started to socialize. I started to make friends at the gym. And my body started to change. I started to look better. I started to feel better, healthier. I quit smoking.
Because
I used to smoke, but because of stress, anxiety, depression. And then one day I thought, this guy is going to stay there and I'm going to die of lung cancer. So fuck that. And I decided to quit.
Nice.
Just like
nice that you were able to quit.
Yes, I quit.
Because
just
a lot of people, it takes a while for them to quit. But okay.
One day my trainer said, hey, there's a guy who said hello to you, but I don't remember his name. And I was like, oh, is that the guy? And he said, yes. And then he told me that he sent you a message on Facebook. And that's how it all started. We went out a couple of times.
But wait a minute, because he knew that you were in a relationship, right?
Yes.
When he started
But
reaching
yes,
out to you.
but he also saw everything going on, where how I was being left alone. For example, my baby's father, he was in the spinning thing and he was chatting all the time. And whenever I got near him, he would find an excuse and move to another place. And so now he tells me that he thinks like, why does this guy leave her alone if she's so pretty, or she's here with her baby trying to find time with him and he just doesn't pay attention to her. So he says that's when he started to become interested in me and decided to talk to me.
Okay.
I was just glad to see him every day and smell him every day. But then, without even talking to him, it's like I started to fall in love with him, but it was more like a platonic thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Makes no sense, I have to say.
To me, it does make sense. To me, it does. And you know what? And I'm not going to justify anything at all. But I think you were trying to escape in some way. So just the idea of having in your mind, I guess, this platonic love for somebody else, it's like a way of escaping from reality, which was reality for you in that moment was hurtful, abusive, toxic. So maybe that's why.
I had just come out from my cocoon, as I said, and I was like trying to reinsert myself into the adult life and talking more to adults than what I used to, because I was alone with a child that barely spoke.
Yeah.
So the thing is that when I finally started to talk to him, he asked me, where do you work? And I say, oh, no, I don't work. And he said, like, but why? And I said, I don't have anybody to take care of my child and my partner doesn't want me to work. And he said, but you speak English, right? Oh, because he had stalked me on Facebook already. And he knew,
of course.
And he knew I spoke English, and he was studying English also at an English school. So he said, like, why don't you talk to me in English? And so I started to say, okay, what do you know? We just started to talk, just a few words. And he said, give me your resume and I'm going to take you to the English school where I study and let's see what happens. And so I did. I went to the interview and I got the job. And then I started to get more and more classes until I got a full-time job. Okay. And that's when my partners didn't like it at all.
No.
Because I was starting again to have money.
Yeah.
And it was not depending on him that much. And he also started, this guy, to tell me, but you are very smart. Why is it that you don't work? Or is he not letting you work? Having a child is no excuse for not working. And I was like, oh yeah, but I do sell stuff online. And he was like, yeah, but you need something else. He started to see in me things that I had forgotten that I had.
See, so this is what I told you. I think this was a way of escaping the other situation, and you realize that there's another world out there that you were missing for so long.
Yes, way too long. But he also was telling me things like, you're smart and you're pretty, and probably he wanted to get laid.
Probably, yeah.
Which we ended up doing. I'm not gonna lie either about that. This time I started to develop feelings, but in a more mature way, not in a romantic, idealistic, naive way than what I have done before. So I asked him like, hey, do you have a partner? And he said, yes, I have a child. His son was less than 2 years old, but he told me like, she's not with me right now. I thought, okay, maybe he just wants to flirt around.
So he had a commitment because he had a child with someone.
Yes.
Okay. That's the commitment that he had. He was not married. He was not.
No. And I also thought that it was a fling because his ex is 18 years younger than him.
Okay.
So I thought, okay, I hope I'm not hurting anyone. I started to develop feelings. Again, I think this was very much my fault because still in this moment, my dad didn't talk to me. This is year 2017. My dad still doesn't talk to me. I am having a lot of problems with my daughter's father. And again, I start liking the attention. What I can tell you is that these ideas of committing suicide and feeling neglected and feeling abandoned started to fade when I met him.
Okay.
I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say. He was my savior, but he came in the right time when I felt like everything was falling apart, when I felt like there was nothing I could do with my life.
So in some way, he gave you hope.
He gave me hope again. I didn't mean to hurt anyone. So this started, I would say, in August. So when it was December, I thought, okay, we have nothing. Yes, we have shared some time, but I don't mean to hurt anyone. Apparently, he had gotten back with the baby mama. Okay.
That's when you were again caught in being with someone who was with somebody else again.
Yes.
Okay.
Also, at this point, my daughter's father was fired from his job. So he was staying at home a little bit more. And now this time I was the one working. And I remember things that he used to tell me were, you will never be like me. You will never get a good job like mine. You will never make as much money as I make.
But this is the father of your third child, like
yes,
the guy that was abusive to you.
Yes.
Right?
That's why I tell you that I felt hopeless, because these were the kind of things that he always told me. Look at yourself. You didn't even finish the university.
Yeah, this is typical controlling person, abusive person.
Hearing this all the time eventually gets, but this time I was working, I was being productive. I was able to buy stuff for myself. As I tell you, this guy provided a lot for the house. He paid for my school, but I don't know if you remember that I told you that I studied cosmetic things.
Beauty. Yeah,
Beauty, yes. Thank God I finished the course, and thank him because he paid for it. I have to say, not everything was always bad. But this time I felt motivated because I had money. I started to buy materials for me. I remember that I spent 1 year with only one pair of shoes.
Wow. Oh, God. And we're talking about 2017 at this point and this situation.
2015. Yes, 2017 is when all the situation started, but one of the worst years was 2015. That is when I was studying to become a beauty technician. So I remember that I just had one pair of shoes, and I used that single pair of shoes. I remember they were blue. I don't know how I managed to match all my clothes with that single pair of shoes. And I remember that we used to go to the mall, and I would basically go window shopping.
Yeah. I think all of us have done.
No, but I remember that my shoes had a hole and they would get wet. And
wow, I know.
I remember walking into a store and I was looking at shoes. Deep inside, I really wanted a new pair of shoes. And I told him, like, hey, why don't you buy me another pair of shoes? Because these are the only ones that I have. And he bought me a pair of sandals. And those sandals became my only pair of shoes for 1 more year.
Oh my God. Well, yeah. Okay. It's pretty clear that this guy is horrible, toxic, abusive. When did you finish with the toxic, abusive guy and moved with the other guy?
People are going to hate me.
I don't know.
I left him when I got pregnant of my fourth child.
Of your fourth child, which means you're having a baby now with the guy that you met at the gym.
Yes.
That you started dating. Okay. So you got pregnant and you left the other guy.
Yes, because for some reason, as I said, I had idealized a family and I wanted to have one more child with this guy. When I first met him, I thought that we could become a family. Without asking me, he got a vasectomy and he consulted with his mom. And again, his mom was the one helping him with everything. So my dream of having a fourth child was destroyed right there with
that guy, which I think was the best thing that could have happened, because I don't see how that could have been better.
Yes. Now that I think about it, me having 2 kids with him, I would probably be dead by now.
Probably.
It became a situation where he started to live a life on his own, and we were just basically sleeping in the same house.
Yeah. You were not together anymore as a couple, nothing.
No. He was already dating someone else, and I know a woman totally different, physically speaking, from me.
That's whatever.
No, the reason why I mentioned this is because he used to say things about my body, like I looked terrible.
Yeah, but we cannot body shame somebody else. I'm sure he had his fucked up reasons to go and seek for somebody that maybe for beauty society standards you would consider she's pretty ugly. That's what you're trying to say.
Mm, I would say more like resembles his mom.
What? Oh, that's a confirmation that the guy is sick. Okay. Because we already talked about maybe him having an Oedipus syndrome situation with his mom, and then he goes with a woman that looks like his
I'm not against plus size women, I have to say. Yeah. I have nothing against that. But maybe the fact that he cheated on me with this type of women is the one that has me biased a little bit. I don't know how to feel about it.
I get it, because it's never easy to understand why somebody's choosing someone else over you, whether it's because of their physical appearance, of what they tell them, because these women, you've been there too, right? We've said that. So these conversations that happen, inappropriate conversations, because you know that it's all a story behind it where you're cheating on someone. So all of that, he's not okay. And the fact that he keeps doing it, he probably will keep doing it until one day in his life he will decide not to do it. But that's only a personal decision that someone can make. You're never going to change that. You tried maybe and it didn't work.
And now that I am with this person, I have to tell you that we have had our ups and downs. Many times I do feel like I am the type of woman that would be better off alone.
Why? What makes you think that?
I think I have so many traumas.
Yeah.
And I'm not willing to take anyone's
bullshit.
shit. Yes. I am a woman who fights for what she wants, because believe me, being me is not easy.
No, I'm sure not.
Being where I am now also in my job has not been easy either. I have made my way there. With God's favor, I am where I am, I have to say too.
Okay.
But it hasn't been easy. So I cannot take no for an answer. I cannot take that people are simply just so lenient with some situations, or that, oh yeah, I don't have money, I'm fucked up, but yeah, what else can we do? Yes, let's sit down and watch TV for hours.
No, that's not a solution, of course. No. I think it has to do with age too. Whether it's you've been forced to, or whether it's the traumas that you're explaining, you have been forced to mature. Yes. And it's inevitable, right? You're growing older, you're going to mature. That's why you're not going to accept any more bullshit, like you say. I think it happens to all of us, whether we went through a lot of traumas or not. We're forced to move on and mature. Yes. There's no way of staying in the same situation and not growing from it. I think that's not an option. And you have realized that, unfortunately, a little bit late, you could say, because you had to experience a lot of things like what you have shared with us today to realize that you shouldn't settle for less. Exactly. I think that's the important thing here that you have learned. So with this, because we have been going on for a while now here, seeking help and family background. So I'm going to stick more to the seeking help part. You've explained and you've shared a lot of personal experience. In between, because you got to a rough point where you even consider suicide. So when somebody hits that point, I think it's like one of the lowest points that someone can hit, right? Like rock bottom, you feel like you don't want to exist anymore. I've been there, so I get it. Again, we all deal with things in a different way. I'm sure that if you hear me speaking about my situation, you will probably not 100% relate, because I think my situation is like the worst situation in the world. You probably, when you were feeling like you wanted to die, You
Mm-hmm.
were feeling like, this is the worst. Nobody ever has a worse situation than I have. But the truth is, there's always somebody that's worse than us.
Yes.
And that shouldn't be a
Mm-hmm.
comfort for anyone.
Mm-hmm.
But damn, it's true. When you were in that low point in your life,
Mm-hmm.
did you ever seek or sought for help and guidance of somebody that was either some sort of an expert or professional that could help you? Did you ever had that opportunity, or did you miss that?
Once with some students from the National University, they were about to graduate it, so they were doing their practice, and they got to where I used to work. They offered free, not therapy, but I don't know. They heard me.
Yeah, they were listening.
They were listening. The soon to be doctor, I would say. I spoke with her, and in 1 hour, I would say, I freed myself from everything that I had felt for all these years. And she told me, this is not your fault. This is not you. Don't believe what he says about you because this is not true. So she opened my eyes, and this was in 2018, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And so she left me an exercise to do. And then the next time she saw me, uh, have you written the 10 good things about you? And I said, you know what? I don't have 10. I have like more than 30.
Oh, good. Nice.
Yes. And so she said, oh, and then she told me, like, okay, now look at this. And then she gave me a box. And when I opened the box, there was a mirror. And she said, what do you see? So I started to cry. And I said,
She did a little bit of therapy on you.
yes.
1 hour, someone was able to take that blindfold off from your
That I have had for years.
thoughts. Yeah, your thoughts about hating yourself at this point.
Yes.
So it's interesting. Do you agree that it's a healthy thing to do to seek help,
Of
to
course.
see a professional? Because again, a cultural thing for us is to have judgment upon us if you ever mention that you're seeing someone for help, right?
Many people don't believe in psychologists, but it is necessary to visit them at least once or twice in your life. Because
I think so
sometimes we
too.
live also in total negation of what we have. But as I tell you, this woman with 2 hours of her life that she gave me helped me a lot.
You changed your entire way of looking at things. I believe in therapy, and not necessarily like the psychiatric, very strict psychological, but just someone to listen to you. And now there's people who are coaches, or they can have a different opinion about what's going on in your life, because sometimes you needed that. You needed somebody with an external view on your situation to make you understand something that you already knew, but you didn't believe.
Right? Yes.
Do you think that a lot of these would have been avoided if you had more access and your family? Because you and I come from a middle-class working family, right? Do you think that plays a role in some way? No?
Yes, of course. Money is important.
Yeah.
If my parents' house would have been bigger, I could have perfectly told them, hey, you know what? I'm going to move back in with you, and I would live in this place. I would pay your rent, and I would be here with my kids.
Okay. So now we're going to the following segment, which is one of my favorite things to talk about: finding passion and the personal legend. I made a very first episode about a little bit about myself, and I shared with people there about what I describe as personal legend, which, do you know where it comes from? Personal legend?
Not really.
Okay, so it comes from the book The Alchemist, which is my favorite book, by the way. So
Paulo Coelho?
Yeah, Paulo Coelho.
I read it, but
I think you should read it again, and I'm sure you're going to find it different. At least I do. I find lessons. I read the book every year. So I feel like it always teaches you something. But why am I talking to you about this? Because I do believe that you still have the opportunity to find passion, even if we're old at this point. We think we're old. Some people call it the calling. I call it personal legend. Other people call it life purpose. So have you discovered your passion or purpose? And if so, if you have found it, can you share it with me?
Okay, I truly admire people who have found that passion. So far in my life, I feel like I am just doing what I have to do to get where I need to my children to get, but not really for me.
Okay.
I do have dreams, not gonna lie, but I have placed that part of my life like in a second place. But I think there is something in me that wants to help people. Still don't know how. I feel like I am very into humanitarian causes.
Nice.
Mhm.
Just for you to know that
Mhm.
in yesterday's episode, I explained I have
Mhm.
not found my passion yet either. I don't know really exactly what is that thing that I can say brings me
Mhm.
joy and fulfillment. I haven't found it yet either. I hope I can find it
Mhm.
because only then I will probably feel that my life is whole. So I hope that you do find it too. Like
Thanks.
really from the bottom of my heart. And I think you deserve to know what it is too, after all that you have gone through. So now for the next segment, I would put a
Mhm.
meme and you tell me your opinions. We share the opinions on it. I know it should be a meme, but I want to put this video because I have opinions on this video and I'm sure that you do. So you're looking at my screen now, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. It's a YouTube. So we're going to watch this and then we're going to give our opinion on it. Have you seen this video? It's about, no, Halloween? No.
No,
Okay. Perfect.
must be very recent.
So the video is this family
Mhm.
that obviously is Latino because you heard them speak Spanish, right? So they're in the US, and I can almost be sure that they're from Central America for their accent. It's the trick or treat Halloween in the
Mhm.
US. And then there's this family that comes and decides to empty the entire basket of candy that somebody had left out. To put you in context, so they had a sign, the owner of the house where they picked up the candy from, they had a sign that said, take candy for yourself and live for others. But you saw what happened in the video. So
Mhm.
what's your opinion on that?
I would blame the adults, not the kid. The kid doesn't know what they do, and candy makes them go crazy. You can
Yeah.
see that in the piñata, right? That's a perfect example. We want to grab as much as we can. But the parents are teaching their kids that nobody else matters but them.
Nice.
This kind of people will do no matter what against no matter who in order for them to get what they want.
I
Mhm.
100% agree with you. Like the parents are the ones to be held accountable for
Correct.
the children's behavior. I think there's 3 adults in that video. Goes back and double check that making sure that it's empty.
Mhm.
This is just me. I think I'm too hard at judging sometimes these
Mhm.
situations. But I don't know why it makes me even more angry because they are Latin people in USA
Proving
sticking to
what they
the
think, what
sticking
they
to the
already think about it.
stereotype.
Exactly.
Yeah, making sure that they hate us even more with this type of behavior. So no wonder they would say, go back home. I wouldn't blame somebody for asking that family to go back home.
You can see that just by all these people that live from the government. They know they can work and they are capable of doing things and generating money and making the economy flow, but they prefer just to live from someone else.
Oh, you mean the gang members, for example,
Well,
or just people who live from the system in general?
exactly. These kids can perfectly grow into this kind of people where they are going to take whatever they want from whoever. They will not even care about breaking the law as long as they get what they want without any
Exactly.
effort.
Basically, they're raising criminals because what values are they teaching to their children if they are the ones? And I don't know if you heard it, but and the people who are listening here will probably not really understand, but the woman, which is, I think, is their mom, says the name of the child, and she says, it's because, I mean, he takes time to read the sign. Like the little child is taking the time to read the sign. So if the child would actually have the opportunity of choosing, he would probably do the right thing.
Correct.
Because he's reading the sign. But his mom is, in the meantime, with his other adult family and children, taking all the candy. It's crazy how you can summarize the future of something in one short video.
And the whole culture, I have to say, because this goes way from Mexico until Argentina.
Yep. Yeah. And then that is the door to how people discriminate. And rightfully, because if you behave that way, what would you expect? So I'm glad we agreed on that one, because
there is no reason for the adults to have done that. As I said, I can understand kids that they can go crazy about candy, but like you said too, if the child would have read the sign, he would have done the right thing, because kids are innocent and they would have left there for their friends. But sadly, the adults don't think the same way.
Yeah, definitely. So moving on, the next segment, product review, ride or die. So this is a segment where you, as the guest, share with us which is one product that you have either used for a long time, like you will never stop using it, or you 100% recommend it. And also, this is optional. If you want, you can share a product that you consider is shitty and you would never recommend to anyone. It can be any product, from beauty, from anything. And I know you like makeup, so you can share whatever you want.
Okay. For starters, since I discovered this one, I feel like I cannot live without it. It doesn't matter the brand, but this one must not miss my skincare routine, micellar water.
Okay.
This one, my partner brought it from the States in August, but my favorite is the one that has the pink cap.
I was going to ask, because I have seen it in green and pink.
This one contains vitamin C, which is good for you. It helps your skin glow and stuff. In my opinion, I prefer the one that has the pink cap, but it's too expensive.
Yeah, it is expensive.
So once I finish this one, I'm going to buy the one with the pink cap. I use it morning and evening every day. And I have to say that the one that has the pink cap helped me replenish my skin. Even if you don't use any moisturizer, your skin looks so plump and so fresh and so hydrated. You can use it.
I've used it before. I don't remember having a bad experience with it, so I probably should use it again.
Yes, I highly recommend it.
Maybe I should try it again.
If you get to use it morning and evening, and like constantly, trust me that you're going to love the result. And well, one thing, a product review that I would probably not recommend. Over here in Honduras, it's all about showing off.
Yeah.
So it's not that I don't recommend, but I don't find it extremely necessary. And these are the Jetty tumblers.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
Not precisely that brand, because people buy them even if they are fake. And then I don't know.
It's like this cup looks like one.
Yes.
I bought it in the dollar store in Panama, so it cost me $1. I would never pay for a Yeti one. I would never pay. I'm a cheapskate.
The product is good. They are nice. I myself have bought a couple, but they have been presents for someone. I have they have had the laser inscription and everything. But for myself, I don't find it something that you cannot live without.
Yeah.
There are other cheaper brands that you can perfectly use, and they would do the same thing.
Yeah. So you think it's not worth the money? Like,
Oh no, because over here it's too expensive.
no,
For
I think
example,
everywhere they're expensive.
yes, and there are other brands that can do the same thing at a cheaper price. Probably the quality, but over here they try to show off from the moment they show you their jetties. I use this for
At the
drinking
Starbucks.
coffee. Yes, and I found it at a secondhand store,
Perfect.
brand new. It also came with a bag of coffee from Starbucks, the Christmas edition, and it works perfectly for me. It keeps it warm for the time that I'm going to drink my coffee, which is like 30 minutes.
Does the
I can,
job fine.
yeah, that's a job. That's it.
I agree. I think the Yeti are just trending right now.
Hmm.
And there's another brand right now. There's like another thermos that has like a big, and then it's thinner from the bottom. I
The
don't remember
Stanleys,
the
Stanley.
Stanleys. That shit. I would never buy that.
Another thing that I don't know if you have, it's an iPhone.
I
It's an
don't have an iPhone.
extremely.
I'm planning to buy one, honestly. I have
Hmm.
a Google phone. I'm planning to buy an iPhone because as badly as I don't want to accept this, they have a good camera. Like they do have a good camera. And I
Yes.
am trying to do this social media thing, so
Mm.
it will make its purpose. Otherwise, this is just perfect. I don't, yeah. But
I have had my phone for, sadly, my daughter was playing with it and she ruined the screen. But so you can see how it is. It's,
ah,
and this is from the back.
do you have a cover on it? No.
No, I took it off.
You have to have a cover if you have children using your phone.
The thing is that in December, it's gonna be 4 years that I have that phone.
No, I
And it's
agree. I agree. I understand because whenever I buy phones, I have
mhm.
them for a long time. And this phone is the first one I ever bought since, I don't know, 2013 that I bought from my money. I usually use the shitty company phones that I get. But
Mhm.
since I was moving from Latin America to here to France, I had to buy
Mhm.
a phone. I never bought a phone since 2013. So
Yes, for me, Samsung is a very good phone. It does the job. Yes, iPhones do have the camera, but it's more like to show status. Other than that, meh.
you know what? iPhone, I think the problem is that everything you have to buy a lot of things. It's not
Mm-hmm.
free like Android. And then you also have to maintain the phone status. These days, they design the phone so that the software expires faster, and then you have to renovate by using a new phone. So that's where I'm hesitating to get one. I'm just thinking about it, but I'm not 100% sure if I should get one or not.
But in Europe, I believe there are other brands like HTC or Plus One or I don't know. They're
Yeah,
good.
I don't know if they're good. I've never had one of those. I'm not really good at technology, so I
Or
would
you
have
can
to
try
read
the
a lot.
Samsung S23 or S22. They have
Yeah,
good
maybe.
cameras. So, but yes, those are things that even if I had the money, I would probably not spend money on that.
Yeah,
That's
it's a lot
my
of money.
opinion.
But
Yes.
I am only considering it now because I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to be at the Black Friday.
Oh,
And I
okay.
know that I'm going to get almost half price. Otherwise, no, I wouldn't spend that. Like people who wait for the new release of the phone and pay full money for it, I would never
Yeah.
do that. Like, why would you do that?
I would
So,
rather give that money to a family in need, I have to
yeah.
say.
Yeah. Now you're making me feel guilty about buying a phone anyway. So maybe
No,
I
it's
will
okay.
not
You deserve.
I will not change the phone now. Okay.
That's what I think about the phone. If you can buy it, fine, go ahead and do it. But I personally, no,
Yeah, I don't think yeah. I'll
unless they give
reflect
it to
on it.
me as a present, of course. I'm not
Ah,
gonna say no.
yeah. 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 Of course,
So
no.
I hope Thibaut surprises you with a present like that.
My boyfriend. No. You're barking at the wrong tree, my friend.
Really?
Thibaut, if he had a choice, he would use Nokia old phone. Swear to God. He hate. If I am not good in technology, that's not on purpose, but in his case, it's on purpose. He really doesn't like technology. He's really old school and he hates social media.
Oh, okay. Lucky you then.
It's not that he hates it, but he's not into it. He doesn't care.
Right.
I'm actually thinking about getting him a new phone because he reads articles on his phone and it's pretty shitty.
Mm-hmm.
So I will probably get him one. Or maybe I'll just buy
has a wider screen so that he can.
Maybe I'll buy myself the phone and give him this one. That's what I'm thinking.
That's a good option too. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Why not?
So we're almost done. Now, book recommendation. This is our next segment.
Mm-hmm.
I like reading, and I hope that the audience that is listening also likes to read, because that's what brings insight to life. Read, learn new stuff. Is there a book that you would recommend?
Mostly I have read novels from when I was in school. But if you're asking me for a book like of self-growth, there are two from a Honduran author who already passed away, and I think you have read it too, which is Los Brujos de Ilamatepeque and
yes, of
Prisión
course.
Verde.
Prisión Verde, yes.
Yes. I don't know, when I first read them, I was so deep into that story. And if you remember Prisión Verde, it was a reality of our country.
Both of them, I think.
Exactly, yeah. And also the third book is Cipotes from the same author.
Yeah.
It portrays perfectly the situation of the country, but with a touch of, I don't know, love, compassion. Those three I recommend.
Okay. So those are your recommendations. Prisión Verde, Los Brujos de Ilamatepeque, and Cipotes. Cipotes is like a fun book. I think everyone should read it. The other ones are a little bit deeper in content. So that's for somebody that wants to have a more deep with reality, I think.
Yes, of what Honduras was back in the 1940s and 50s.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And Brujos de Ilamatepeque, I really liked it because that way you can see how religion still has affected back then humanity, and it still does today.
Now,
yes,
it still does today. And okay, I'm going to list the names in the description of when I post the podcast so that people who are listening can reach out to the books if they want to, and the author and everything. Now, to wrap up, Giselle, so what would be the key takeaways you'd like to give to the audience that is listening to remember from your story and the insides of it?
First,
love yourself first. Okay.
Don't be afraid of asking for help and looking for therapy.
Good.
And run away when you get to see the very first red flags if you are in any relationship, but in an abusive relationship, I have to say. But always never give up, because life is beautiful. Life is cool. I hope one day I get to tell my stories to my grandchildren.
Laughing, yeah.
Trust me that one of the things that I have decided to is not to feel victim anymore. I rather think of this more as a life experience, more as an opportunity to grow as a person, and an opportunity to help someone that needs help and ask me for help. Because if someone doesn't want to be helped, then you cannot help them.
Yeah, of course.
There's always a solution. Sometimes we don't find it, and we always see that it is dark.
I'm sure that everything that you have shared with us today is going to help people. I am sure about that. Like I said before, relate to your story and try to understand that if maybe somebody's going through something similar, they're not alone. And if you were able to overcome situations, they can too. I think it's not over for us. We have probably other things coming our way.
Yes.
I'm not going to say that everything is going to be rosy, but I think that you have grown from the person that I know from a long time ago, and I shared before with you, and you have shared with me about your situation. I do want to apologize for not being there more. And I apologize for not making you comfortable enough to reach out, maybe. I don't know. I feel guilty at this point for not
Oh,
being there. I want you to understand that I'm here for you.
thank you.
And I'm not here to judge you in any way. On the contrary, I want you to reach out for whatever you need, even if it's
Thank,
just talking to someone. I
thank
don't
you.
know.
Thank you. It's nice to hear
So,
those words. Thank you, Denise.
of course. And I want to thank you for being so open, for sharing your journey with all of us. And if you're comfortable with it, do you want to share with people where can they find you? What social media are you using?
Instagram, uh, Facebook, TikTok, but right now I don't have a phone, so I'm not posting any videos right now. Anyways, I just have videos of my daughter dancing. But yes, if someone ever wants to reach me, they can find me on Instagram, send me a message, and we can talk.
Thank you so much for joining me today. For those of you who are listening and enjoyed the episode, I want to please have you consider leaving us a review and subscribing to our podcast platforms that we are available on Apple Podcast and Spotify. Also,
Yes.
you can connect with us as NTH Podcast with me. We have YouTube channel, we have TikTok, Instagram, Facebook page. You can go ahead and follow us there too. Stay tuned for the next upcoming episodes and the podcast. Thank you again, Giselle. And it
Thank
has
you for
been
inviting me.
my pleasure to have you today. And if you want to come back again, you're more than welcome.